Welcome to Startup Diaries, sponsored by Point-Click Technologies. My name is Isatou Ceesay, and this is a new series highlighting 10 Gambian founders and their startup stories. Each episode has an in-depth interview with the founder, highlighting their ups and downs throughout their journey. Whether you are in the Gambia or somewhere out there in the diaspora, this show is for you. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below, as we would love to hear from you. Enjoy the show.
My name is Isatou Lilly Ceesay. Everybody calls me Lily. I am born and raised in the Gambia. I am the sole owner and founder of a clothing company called Lilleodesigns, which started in 2011. For my case, I had no idea what I wanted to do after high school. It was my mom who decided to put me into a tailoring school because I didn't know what I wanted to do out of high school. So she put me into a 2-year program to kind of fill the time and fill the space where I didn't have what to do. I always knew that I was an academic. My grades were good, but I didn't enjoy the academic part of school. I enjoyed the crafts and the arts and the creative part, so I guess that's why my mom decided to put me into the school, which turned out great because I loved the tailoring as soon as I started it. And very slowly we grew it into a business. We've been operating for 10 years now, and I figured over the years, very slowly, I started to realize that there is a niche, there is a need in the market for what I can offer, and that's why we have been operating for 10 years. What triggered my need, the idea of making ready-made pieces, was when I finally got my shop building and I was able to stock the pieces that I liked, the pieces that I like wearing, and then people started buying them and they enjoyed the same pieces. So it shows that people would rather come and buy pieces ready off the rack than having to go through the time to wait for bespoke pieces. And it goes a lot faster than having bespoke pieces. The process was long. I think the most challenging thing here is to find the right staff to do what you want. You may have the right product, you may have the right execution and everything, but it's finding the right staff that is what can make or break your business. And I think for us, I was very lucky where I had the right staff. My first employee understood what I wanted, so it was very easy to explain my product and how I want it executed. So we had to learn. We made mistakes over the years. We had to learn the hard way. We lost some customers. We made some new ones. But I would say ultimately it was just my focus and drive on what I wanted to achieve and making sure that whoever's working with me could help to make that dream become a reality. So because research facilities were not easy to come by within the Gambia, we had to do it on the ground like everybody else does, which is word of mouth. That's what we have. So very quickly I realized people kept calling and asking, I saw this person wearing this, or I saw someone at an event wearing this, and they gave me a number. So that's how I realized that my brand was wanted and needed, because people were asking for the things. So the market research almost found me. I didn't have to go out and look for it. And of course you have social media. At the time when we started, social media was not what it was. So today it's a very powerful tool to have in a business, whereas before you had to work even harder to get people to see your products than you do these days. So that was a big help as well, when I got to see people who would go on my social media and follow me and send messages and ask questions. Where are you located? How can I get some of your pieces? So that helped me grow my capacity based on the amount of interest that I was getting over the years. So in terms of marketing, we've sponsored a few outfits for music videos where the model in the music video is wearing one of our pieces. We have also sponsored clothing to host events, event hosts who would wear either Yusundur. We also did the ushers for the Yusundur, the first year of Yusundur's show over here with Absolute Weekend. We also have a lot of tagging on social media of other people wearing our pieces, so that draws people in as well. So we did the usual fashion show journey of, fashion brand journey of, we had fashion shows. Every year we did a fashion show with Fashion Weekend. We did Gambia Fashion Night. We did music on the runway. So I've done about 6 or 7 fashion shows over the years, which helps to grow your exposure within the country. In terms of logistics, I would say it was a very slow uphill journey where I first started in my mom's home office, and then gradually we finally built the shop that I wanted, and then I got to move into that. That was challenging, and it was hard, and it was expensive, but we got through it. We got the shop building up. Of course, when I have to find new places and new ways to source fabrics and think of new designs to play with in order to keep the competition going, keep the momentum going, and keep our brand relevant as well. So in terms of HR and my staff, I was lucky to get a very good employee who I still have. It's been 8 years he's been with me. And over the years, we've had different tailors who would come and go. And if you know anything about the fashion industry in the Gambia, it's very hard to find good tailors who understand the quality of finishing and the quality of tailoring that I require in my brand. And one thing that I do with my employees, I take my time and I have to explain to them very patiently what I want and how I want it. And for the first month of their trial basis, I always make sure that I keep an eye on them and I keep on them to make sure that they understand what it is that I want. And if within that month they're not able to deliver the standard that I require, then I normally like to look for another employee just to kind of keep the standard of what I'm offering at Lilleo. So to start the business, I had to do it very slowly, because even though I had my mom and my family to support when I wanted to buy fabric or little things like that, I had to do it out of pocket very quickly in terms of sewing. When I started getting paid for what I do, because when I started, I used to sew for my friends and my family for free just to kind of get that experience. And then luckily, everyone started demanding more things and I started getting paid for it. So I started using that money and turning it over into the business when I would use that to buy more fabric or buy more sewing materials, buy my first sewing machine and things like that. So we had to grow and expand based on what our income was at the time. I was very lucky to not have to loan any money from a bank or take any grants or anything like that. I grew the business very organically with the money that it was making at the time. And I would say we're still doing the same, obviously on a much bigger scale. So that's how we've managed to keep the business going for 10 years. So in terms of challenges, I would say there's a lot. I could write a whole book, I guess, as every entrepreneur could do. But from the beginning, the few challenges for me, I would say, was to be able to work in the pace that I wanted to, based on the electricity issues that we had over here. I wasn't making enough to be able to afford a generator or to have an inverter or anything to help with electricity, so we spent a lot of time in the day sitting and waiting for electricity to come back on. So that was definitely a big struggle in the beginning. Recently been a huge influx of fashion designers who are up and coming. Some of them don't know how to sew, some of them don't know how to cut, but they're here as fashion designers, and I feel like it brings down the standard of quality tailoring that the rest of us who've been around for years have been trying to change the fashion industry within the Gambia. Then you have a lot of these young up and coming ones who maybe may not input as much attention and detail onto the important quality things that we would. So if anything, I would say that's one of our challenges, is to just keep that level of standard that we have started with and try to make everyone work within that same dynamic. As a result of those challenges and everything else that we face these days, I would say it makes me personally as an entrepreneur to think out the box, where I try to figure out new ways to maneuver those challenges and make them work for me. It's where we try to make the challenges into a challenge, as in it's not a challenge that you sit and complain about, but it's a challenge that makes you get up and want to do something about it and make it better, in order to make everyone around you as well think the same way. It's more inspiring when you have a group of people around you who are thinking the same way as you, as opposed to the ones who are not maybe trying so hard. Our vision in the next 5 years is to grow our business internationally. I think more than anything, that's where I feel like our business is heading towards. We have just commissioned for our website. We should be ready with that within a month. And I would like to take my brand international in order to be able, because I feel like I could compete, or I could at least be in par with other international designers who are doing the same as me. And as well, it pushes you to be able to get more opportunities outside of the country, to be able to bring that back home and take the Gambia further as well. So as advice to any young and upcoming fashion designer or entrepreneur, it doesn't matter really what field you're into, I would say keep at it, because it gets hard over the years. I don't think you'll ever meet an entrepreneur who would tell you that my journey was easy, I just woke up and I got it on my lap, unless they were the son of Bill Gates or something. But for the rest of us, I would say definitely keep at it. You know what you want, focus on it, and tunnel vision on how to get it, because you're going to have obstacles along the way, whether it's logistics or people or yourself even. I would say I have been my own worst enemy sometimes throughout the past few years, when I had to learn to get out of that for myself in order to help expand my business the way that I wanted. So I would say keep at it, definitely. Despite the struggles and despite the challenges, just know what you want and keep going for it.